I just never went back to spend my money like that.
I don't like, most of the time, I don't like the vibe. I don't like the energy in there. I don't like all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I could find somebody else who would either I could go to, their, and when I could find their, if I could go to somebody in their home or have them come to mine or
So
something like that, it
that's
was
the
much
thing
more
with
comfortable.
Mimi. She does have one chair. It's in her home. She got a sink, a shampoo bowl, one chair, like a little hair studio. So it's just one. It's just you and her in there.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know, it's just something about that that just does not sit well with me. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so yeah, well, let me know.
Yeah, I'll get the information today.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's the summertime. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that braiding or whatever in the summer. If you like to have it on your head in the summer, you don't mind it braiding the hair in the summer.
I usually when I travel, I get braids, but I get like, I get real simple
Oh, okay.
stuff. And yeah, that's how it usually goes. So I don't like, I will say, I find some of that stuff scratchy
Yeah.
and distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have been letting it grow out with the intent of, of switching to something. And so I'm like, let me go ahead and do something, let me make a decision.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
and sometimes I wonder why they call sister locks. Like,
Because
am I supposed
it's
to,
the way we do it. It's a technique.
oh, I was about to say, am I supposed to go to one of my sisters and have her do it?
Oh, probably only a sister can, but yeah, it's a technique that we use with a needle
Okay.
as opposed to rolling it like this.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because my girlfriend Monica has sister locks and hers are really thin too. And she has thousands of them. And and yeah, but I don't know. I don't know that I have like made a decision about a preference or anything.
Yeah.
I know that this is the funny thing. And I had this I had this guy say, "Oh, you a hot grandma," and I'm thinking like, I'm not a grandma.
What the world to say?
And I was like thinking, I'm not a grandma, but I guess the gray, but maybe I'm in that age group that we get that. But I love my silver. I love my silver. I actually feel like I don't know, like storm or like um
Like a superpower.
yeah. And then that woman who ran for president who had that one little silver patch over on her side of her head. And after the first debate, she dyed it. And I was like, you freaking traitor. I lost respect for her. It's like, geez, what society does to us. It should be, it should be an honor to have that. And to just trust that nature is going to give you exactly what you're supposed to have. So this is my my symbiont, I'll say it like that. And for if you're not a Trekkie, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But this on Star Trek, there was this thing where you could incorporate old souls into your soul. And when you incorporated an old soul, you would get almost like a tattoo, which was like called the symbiont. And it would just come out in you and it manifests in you. And so I just kind of take my silver as that kind of, my badge of wisdom, my badge of just juiciness. I'm loving it. I love it. So for me, I'm trying to cultivate this. So yes, any instructions
I
or
got
help
you.
would
I
be
got
wonderful.
you.
Yay. So and here's the other thing. Let me say this too before I shift my attention to folks out here. It's wonderful to have siblings and sisters in particular.
It is.
Even
Woo,
for
it is.
the sometimes drama they might bring, it is in the how do I want to say it? It is that bond that is just it's such a blessing. It's
Mm-hmm.
such a
Mm-hmm.
and even when even when you get pissed off and you think that you hate them, it's that love and it's that foreverness
It's
that
the sameness that we are.
yeah, it transcends all of the junk from day to day. And
Mm-hmm.
and I never feel as though having siblings, I never feel as though I don't even know how to say it. It's like I feel it's like a forever. It's they can't divorce me even when they don't like me, you
They
know?
can't. We try. We've tried. We've tried. Although my sister that I was born and raised with,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, she may have done it for me, but I have never had a feeling or notion or desire to like never talk to her again. And I'm not speaking to her. I've never ever felt like that for my sister. She has ticked me off and we have had some, crazy moments and we laugh about them now. But I have never ever felt like that about my sister. And then my half sister, I hate to even use that word, but my other sisters from my dad, I've only had one sister that I was just like, no, no, no. But other than that, and then we've reconciled that. But I've never felt like that. I can't even fathom being in a
Right,
space where I'm not talking to my sister.
right,
I
right.
just have not, um, where okay, you walk away from a disagreement, like, okay, I'm done with this. But to just be like the next day, like, I ain't never talking to her again. That's
Yeah,
not,
right. Yeah, no.
no. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So good morning, Sarika. Good morning, Nicia. It's so
Good
nice to see
morning.
you. Good morning, good morning. And whoever else may be on here, I am just so honored. Sometimes I get so full. Today is Rhonda Crowder's birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Rhonda.
I just
Oh,
I just shot her. I was like, I wanted to pin some money on her, so I, did like Sarika did me. I just shot her some something real quick, and it is so amazing because when I think about how Rhonda shows up in front of that computer every
yeah, every morning. Oh,
you,
don't pay.
and just to kind of push us to get published, it is like such a freaking blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just so grateful for for that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for her generosity, the generosity of her
Yes.
spirit. So Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So Nasia says, I feel the sibling relationship is the most unconditional, real, unique relationship there is. Yes.
I
And
got goosebumps.
yes.
It's
and,
so true.
and it's so amazing because, you don't recognize that when you're younger, I don't think, because you just take it for granted. And then as we get older, it's like, yeah. And Sarika got her brother, and I mean, just, or being a sister, right? Just, sometimes it's just like, wow. I just, yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And losing my brother was hard and unreal and all of that stuff. But yes. And so now we're going into a section in the book, An Anatomy of the Spirit, about the power of relationships. This is a second chakra thing as we're sitting here feeling this and vibing on it.
Yes.
This is a second chakra piece. And it is the second chakra, she says, is a partnership chakra. And it's so funny because you brought up yesterday about, like, if we could have, as souls looking to incarnate, we are picking a family that we are being born into. And all of a sudden, what we realize is even though in the midst of the stuff that seems like it is haphazard and hard, all of these people have supported us in our development.
Yes.
And
every aspect of it.
Yes, even when it was rough and hard.
Yes.
It was still, yes.
They're supposed to be here. They are a divine assignment.
Yes. So one of the things that she says so thank you, God, that we are here in this space, in this moment together, vibing on the love that is our truth, the love that is everywhere present, the love that is you. We know that the words spoken here are filled with your light, love, and wisdom of the highest. And so we open up our hearts and minds to receive. And so it is.
It is.
Yay, y'all. And to be able to give out of the fullness, right, of our hearts, to get beyond the judgments, because a lot of times, I will say that when it's your sibling or when it's somebody close to you, you fight with them like nobody else because you know that there is a permanence there, right?
Right. It's safe.
Yeah, you could show up and just, do what you do. Be who you are. And there's no, in spite of, sometimes we could put on acts in front of other people. But our siblings know us. So and so that can be a challenge too, right? That can be a real challenge too. So so she says that the energy begins to pulsate and becomes distinct around age 7. At that age, children start interacting with other children and adults and more independently of their parents and outside of the home, right? So through this initial interactions, they begin to individuate, form relationships, and explore their power of choice.
Mm-hmm.
When kids go through that phase of mine,
that's two.
Yeah, that's way before then, but they go through that mind. So it's like, I know now that you are you and now I am me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so there is this separation, because before we might not have been aware of it. So then there's this separation. And then as we start to go out and begin to make friendships or whatever, then we find out stuff even about our own selves. Like, there's so much that we find out, right? Sometimes it is in just in the value of who you are.
Mhm.
It's amazing to me because I've never had the spirit of being like, I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to be your friend. Right. But when somebody did that to me, I was like, I got a posse already. I don't need your ass. Right. I was like, deuces.
I'm the oldest of 28 first cousins. Need
Ooh.
I say more?
Ooh. Oh,
First cousins.
wow. That's huge.
I know.
And were you guys all like in the same
Same
area?
city,
Same
right here,
city?
right here, right between this house and the 1-2 streets over.
Oh my gosh. The ringleader.
Yes. Mhm.
Wow. That ain't no joke.
I got teased as being the favorite, but whatever.
Uh,
But yeah, it was.
mm,
I said that to say that people outside of that circle, yes, I get it, because I was just like, okay, because I got stuff to do anyway, and I got people to meet anyway. So if you don't want to kick it with me, all right, it's
yeah.
fine. I had plenty of family, like plenty of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
plenty, plenty of loved ones.
Yeah. It doesn't like that woman that said that time, we ain't never been ugly. I'll be like, I ain't never been without a friend unless I wanted to be.
Yes.
You know, and one of the things that I have found is that, you know, I generally, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I generally am, do I want to say I'm an easy person to be a friend with? However, all my friendships are not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to keep my distance from people who it doesn't seem like there's a, you know, I know how to kind of like feel for that. And I think being able to feel what is right for you is a gift too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So she says, with the second chakra, energy shifts from obeying tribal authority to discovering other relationships that satisfy personal and physical needs. Still a lower chakra energy that pushes us towards relating to external forces. The second chakra is a powerful force.
Yeah,
Now,
it is.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's like the growth serum.
Yeah. So this location, I always say that it's in our sex organs. Here she will be more polite and say that it's in the lower abdomen to the navel area. So she is putting it outside of your sex organs. I'm saying that it's, but
She does go down to say
yeah,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Even later, she does say something about it symbolizes yeah, so the phallus, I think. But here, let me read this. So location is lower abdomen to navel area. Energy connection to the physical body is the sex organs, large intestines, lower vertebrae, pelvis, hip area, appendix, and bladder. So if you were rocking your body like around your hip area, all of that down there in that rock and flow is part of that area that we are talking about. All of that. Yeah,
And you can
that's that.
reference the chart on 96 and 97 for those who have the book.
Yep. Here, let me. Oh yeah, that's the chart. Yes. And so we talked about this before. And so we will probably refer back to this because when there's a physical dysfunction in the second chakra area, it is that chronic low back pain. I think I just went over this again the other day.
Oh, did you?
Sciatica,
Okay.
OBGYN problems, pelvic, low back pain, sexual potency. Ooh, y'all, and that's good. We're going to talk about that. And then urinary problems. So all of that is part of the second chakra stuff. So energy connections to emotional and mental body. The chakra resonates to our need for relationships with other people and our need to control, to some extent, the dynamics of our physical environment.
To some extent, triple underscore.
To some extent, to the extent that we can, right? Because wait a minute here, let me say this, because since you guys have been watching, both Stephanie and I have transformed our spaces so that it actually brings us a certain sense of, because here we have to be aware of the spaces that we occupy and how those spaces make us feel. And so to that extent, we have altered our spaces just in the time that you guys have been watching. Like if you started watching us back in February or from then on, we've transformed our spaces so that it becomes a space that actually speaks to or resonates with who we are and who, so all of that stuff. So and so the dynamics of our physical environment, whatever that may mean. I've been working on my house, period, right? I've just been period.
Forever and ever and ever.
Well, since COVID, because
well, I mean, when you have a house, you're always doing something.
Yeah.
At least that was my story. I've always had some type of creative expression was always in the works. I was either redoing a book. I was just always doing something in my house.
Well, you know what my problem was is that I had all this other energy in my house, the tenants that I had.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was not happy in my space. And so when I got all of that energy out of my house, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got a house. I can stay here. It's mine. It's, I can claim it.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where you get in here and you just, like I'm gonna run naked through the house or something.
And I can.
Yes. I don't have to worry about inspectors coming in here telling me about what I can't have or what I can't do and all this other. Yes. So anyway, I'm sorry, I digressed here. All attachments by which we maintain control of our external lives, such as authority, other people, or money, are linked through this chakra to our energy field and physical body. The illnesses that originate in this energy center, are activated by the fear of losing control.
That makes so much sense.
Fear of losing control. Whew. Isn't that? Okay, so prostate or ovarian cancer, chronic pain in the lower back and hips, and arthritis are a few more common health problems. Now, top of 130, it says problems at menopause. So now, wait a minute. So let me so y'all get the feel of this. When I reread this the other day, I didn't even have this underlined, because when I first started reading this book and the subsequent times that I read this book, remember, I think I said the first time I read it was back in 1999. I did not even, menopause was probably like not even in my language. It wasn't in my lexicon of languages. And so when it says problems at menopause, such as hot flashes, it was as if I was having the hot flash for all of the east side of Cleveland, the way my body was leaking. It was so crazy, such as hot flashes, problems. That is a hot flash a problem? Who knew? I didn't even know that. Had I known that it was a problem, I probably would have sought to solve it rather than sitting up there trying to celebrate. Like, look at me, I'm having a hot flash. I be all soaking and wet and all of that stuff, telling people, ain't it hot? Oh, girl. Wait a minute. So let me go on. Problems at menopause, such as hot flashes and depression, the depression part didn't affect me, are second chakra dysfunctions. A dysfunction. Fibroids. How many people do we know with fibroids? Because our community is replete with fibroids. Why is that? This is the partnership chakra, right?
And no control. It's the no control chakra. It's like, I don't have.
It's the no control chakra.
The illnesses come from not being in control.
So wait a minute. So let me back up, because I got this one friend who has serious fibroids to the extent where she needed to have some parts removed. But our theme song for her was Janet Jackson's Control. I'm not even gonna sing it for y'all. But it was just that, control.
You either feel like you don't have control, or you are like adamant about controlling.
Right, but that's why you are adamant about controlling, because ultimately you have no
control. Yes, high five. Yes.
Yeah. So and what my one girlfriend, her tagline on her emails is if you want to make God laugh,
give him your plans.
Yes. Tell her your plans. Right? Because that illusion of control is just that. It's an illusion. So fibroids result from a second chakra creative energy that was not birthed, and from life energy that is directed into dead end jobs or relationships. Yeah, we could call it a day right there.
Right.
However, we, you know how we do. We want to bring some light to this, right? We want to shed some light on this. So let me we're gonna go through this, because this a couple of pages here are just talking about how this manifests in our system before we get into what it means. or to kind of shed some further light and give some examples and stuff, right? So symbolic and perceptual connections. The energy of this chakra enables us to generate a sense of personal identity and protective psychological boundaries. Personal identity and okay, as we continually assess our personal strength in regards to the external world and its physical seductive force, such as sex, money, addictive substances, or other people, the second chakra energy of healthy physical ego keeps us able to interact with the world without having to negotiate or sell ourselves. It is the energy of self-sufficiency, a survival instinct for being in the world. Now, let me also say, though, that everything in our culture wants to tell you that you are not enough as you are. And because we get duped by this, thinking that a new car will make you enough, or some false nails will make you enough, or we got all of this stuff that we try to add on. Yes, we got all of this stuff that we try to add on to make us enough. And I think you were talking about the armor, right? Yesterday. The armor we added on because we think somehow, as we are not enough.
And
All
it
of
gets
this
stuck. The story is amazing. A little story that I think is it by Joe Campbell? I don't know who it's by, but the story is good enough because we get stuck in it. We get so stuck in creating the illusion that I'm okay. Whatever it is, and it's so subtle. She talks about that in this chapter. It's so unconscious that you look up and you're like, oh, I got fibroids, oh, I got hot flashes, oh, I got bladder reconstructive surgery coming up. You look up and all of these things are happening because in our attempt to be self-sufficient, we're efforting the self-sufficiency when we are enough by faith, we are self-sufficient. We do not have to depend, so therefore we don't have to worry about a loss. Because I'm not reaching to get, I've already received it. I'm in abundance now. So therefore I don't have to reach or beg or plead or prostitute myself, if you will, to have.
You know, one of the things that they say in New Thought is that all that God needed to do is already been done.
Yes, you just got to step in it.
Yes. And that's one of the things that people get twisted because we always have this notion that there is something that we have to do, something we have to add, something that's not. And it's like what we've done is we've covered up perfection with our idea that we know
so
what
perfection. Yeah, but somebody else's idea of what perfection is.
Yes. Woo. And so
and then it takes away from the creative energy of the second chakra, because now I don't have enough. I told you about writing my papers. I don't know. I always talk about writing my papers. I used to get so frustrated when I had to write a paper and have to do this research and I'm just regurgitating somebody else's idea. And I used to be like, I want a fresh idea. I want a fresh idea. I don't want to regurgitate and footnote and reference somebody else's idea. I want a fresh idea. Oh my God, that burned me up in school.
It did me too.
When I graduated, I said, I'm going to create a new theory. There is a theory living inside of me, and I'm going to create a theory. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's going to be this energy system and psychology together. I don't know, but I tell you what, I was like, I'm sick of regurgitating somebody else's ideas.
Right.
So that I could get a paper graded.
Yes.
Yeah, that used to burn me up.
That's part of the get in that damn box. Didn't I tell you to stay right there?
Yes.
They made it sound like, and that's what I have said to people. That's what I think footnotes are, footnotes and all of this other stuff. It is a way of making you stay in that box.
Like brainwashing. Let me help you remember that this is it, that this is it, that this is it. And I need you to write it. I need you to reference. I need you to prove that you understand that this is the only way and the only truth.
Right. It's so, to me, it's so ridiculous. And yeah, it's just based on that, the smallness that, and so part of it is that we need to break free. One of the things that I know about in philosophy is that these guys would come together and just kind of like, we gonna vibe in the square and talk about this stuff. But then we have this way as because those of us who have been educated through traditional systems in this country, the more people we can quote, the more intelligent we feel. Well, what the hell? Why not? Why do we have to make that quotation intelligence part of us? Why can't we just, let me reach down into my second chakra. This is what I Y'all probably cry thinking. yes.
It's so
But,
true.
all right. So the Sacrament connection. So the second chakra is aligned to the Saphira of Yesod, which represents the phallus, right? Penis, the male energy of procreation. This partnership chakra also holds the energy of covenant. This procreative energy is both biological and spiritual. Both, right? And when all you're doing is trying to get your Johnny off, you have
missed it. And you have created something, but it's so small and not impactful. But when you know, no, seriously, when you understand the magnitude of manifestation that can happen in that area, in that space, and then you have collective creative energy, it's like, whoa, like I can do this, like big.
Right. So now let me share with you guys right quick that Stephanie took this to a whole new level, but we read this book. I read a book called Pussy that was by Regina Thomas Hauser, which just absolutely blew my mind. I love the book, and started really talking about the female sexual energy. Stephanie took it a step further and went to a workshop somewhere.
Actually, I did it online during the pandemic.
Okay, you did it. Okay, online. Okay. So she went to or participated in a workshop. And so part of this coming to this is with this awareness that we have been estranged from, divided. I love that word estranged, but we have created a wedge in between ourself and our sexual self, as if one doesn't inform the other. So there's this split. And so over here, we keep that girl, even if when we acknowledge her, we got her locked in a drawer or in a closet. That's when we acknowledge her, and we only bring her out for certain people and in certain situations. We don't allow that part of us to inform who we are on a regular basis. And so there is an attempt, what we are doing is trying to merge the two, our self that we show the world with our sexual self. And those two come together and be how we present and how we see the world. When we are walking around with only half of ourselves present, I think that we've gotten into the box that makes other people comfortable, but then it shackles a real part of us that is like wanting to say, hey, until you recognize that I'm here and that I got something to say, you will you will only be able to be so creative. You will only be to have certain things for yourself. And so when we talk about this, this procreative energy that's both biological and spiritual, we have got to recognize that this is the challenge for all of us, not just men, but for humanity to remember who we are.
Yes. Literally put the pieces back together.
Yes, that's what it means. These things are members of our body, and we are resurrecting it. We are pulling all of it back together. Even the sexual libido part of ourselves, we be like, come here, girl.
So you mentioned the word I had never heard, bastardized. And we have, as I'll speak for the woman side of it, we have bastardized that part of ourselves, which means that it comes with shame. And in my world, as a clinician, shame is one of the poisonous mental health struggles that any person can bring to the table. I love working with shame, but shame is the thing that is the poison. And so when we've shamed this portion of ourselves, then we can't be our biggest selves. Understand, for people of color, is systemic. I don't know if what the masters knew, if they knew that, and they, did some type of, created a spell for that. But I can tell you that slavery and sexual rapes and things like that from our ancestors, that fear and that yuckiness, and that took away from the sacredness of the act and the sacredness of that portion of our body, shut that part of us down. And when we had a creative thought, there came the shame and the doubt. So if you are experiencing that, know that that's where that energy is coming from. Is coming
Right.
from years and years of being violated. And so we've been trained to bastardize it. And then they, so wonderfully, selectively chose to teach us that that meant we were holy. But you're not holy by withholding that part of yourself from yourself. You are actually quite the opposite, in my humble opinion. Because
Good.
the holiness is to just embrace it all.
Yeah.
And re-invite her or him to the table and say, what do you have to teach me? That's what I loved about the book, Pussy. It's like, what do you want to teach me? What do you want to inform me about? How do you want to inform me? Tell me my truth.
Right. And let me listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It is, like when we talk about our senses, right? We talk about how we maneuver in the world based on our senses, like our sight, our taste, our smell, touch. We have learned how to distrust our senses, the five senses, but wonder if we recognize that our libido also had a sense too, right? And that there are certain people that fire it up when they come in, when they come in our vicinity. It speaks, it has a voice, it says yes.
Yeah, I'll have your child. You can come. You can come. You can come. Now, next month, it will be you. Like, the body tells us what it wants.
Yes. But because we, mentally, we have trained ourselves to go after different things. And so we get greedy with our eyes. Our eyes say, oh, it's the house, or oh, it's the car, or oh, it's you look stable, or it becomes everything other
It becomes
than
controlling. We control it.
yes.
We now are running things.
Whew. Yeah, so we don't want to get stuck here. Let's we can talk about this. This is just this is for me, this is just an amazing like reclamation. Wake up. Okay, so and this is not just about women. This is not just about women and our libidos. It's about you guys too. And it's about what has been done. This, so much of this stuff is, yes, what you just said, Stephanie, it's about control. And the control has been something that if we continue to, with the wool over our eyes, to look at life through the prism that somebody else, some glasses that somebody else prepared for us, definitions that somebody else gave us, all of this stuff, we will always live this life where we are just not even stepping into the fullness of where we can be. Okay. So we desire to create children and also to bring our creative ideas into physical form, which is crucial. She says it's crucial to our physical health as to our spiritual, right? As our physical health as to our spiritual, right? So yes, and I know you feel that, right? The sacrament of communion resonates to the energy of this chakra and symbolizes bonds we form with people. Communion of many types is symbolized by the act of sharing bread together, breaking bread. And we had already talked about that from when I talked before about Prentice Mumford and that book, Thoughts Are Things, the significance of us sharing that process together. And that's why breaking bread and sharing a meal is so vitally important. And what the things that come out of that is so vitally important. Primary fears. We gotta talk about this. The fears of loss of control or being controlled by another through the dominating power of events or conditions such as addiction, rape, betrayal, impotency, financial loss, abandonment by our primary partner or professional colleagues. Also, the fear of loss of power of the physical body.
That's so huge. That is so huge. Just, it's just huge. It's just huge.
All
It's
right.
huge. It's huge.
So, okay. Now, let me say this, because our community, sometimes I want to cry for us,
yes,
for
yes.
what we have been through as a people. I don't always know that it's helpful to cry, but I want to cry nonetheless. Because when we talk about this idea of primary control and the fear of loss of control, of being controlled by another, right? We were brought here to this country in freaking chains, ripped from family, ripped from everything that was familiar that we knew. And let me put a bookmark in that for a second. For those of you who were trying to say to me, Sandra, those things don't inform who I am today, let me say they absolutely inform.
I say all think of again.
You are today. Yes.
Think again.
There is a study called Epigenetics, and I will just touch on this for a brief second because I think it is important that if you think that this is all in the past, that you know that there are studies that have been done that says that when a person goes through trauma affects the DNA of that person, and that DNA is passed down from generation to generation to generation. What has happened to our ancestors absolutely informs who you are today.
Do not think that it's not. It is so true that it's sickening. It is so true that it is heartbreaking.
So I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. Because I realize that it is hard to be imprisoned or enslaved, to be beaten, to be controlled, to be made to do things that you never would do for any other reason other than so you and I could be here today, because they're surviving that shit was the only reason why we are present.
And can do what we do.
Yes. And so this is no small task. They had a hope. They had a hope for you even before they knew you.
Yep. And we're living, I always say I am living, but we all are. I am living in the sacred yeses of my ancestors. Because when they prayed a prayer, God said yes. And I am that yes.
Yes.
I am the yes. For every dream, my mother said my grandmother used to want to be a dancer, and I'm a dancer, and I dance, and yeah, I just know. And my grandfather couldn't read or write, worked 40 years at Ford. And when I asked him, Granddaddy, if you could change anything, what would you do? I would have taken more risk. And that provoked me to be a risk taker. And it provoked my mother to be a risk taker. She didn't know that he had said this because she didn't know that was his desire. But coming from Georgia, from the plantation, because I'm only 4 generations removed from slavery. So my grandfather was raised and born on the plantation. He wasn't a slave, and his grandmother was the daughter of a slave. And so just having that experience of knowing that I had praying grandparents and understanding that God says yes, he says yes, she says yes. When I look at myself today, I understand that I am the answer to a bazillion prayers. And when I've gotten into situations that were like were not supposed to be for me, I could feel the prayers. I could feel the yeses of the people before me. And I just no longer take that for granted. It's been a long time since I've not been reminded of the responsibility that I have as a yes. I am a yes. And my children coming after me, they are a yes to another request. Something, because I believe people of color are foreseers. I believe that we are. I believe that we had so much foresight, but it was beaten out of us. So they imagined. But this has not caught us off guard. Technology, and this is me. This is my people. You can take it and take all the credit for it, but I know where this information comes from in my heart, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, sometimes it amazes me that through all this stuff, sometimes people are just pushing forward and don't even know why, right? But through all of the stuff, even when they weren't conscious or aware, and when they were, here we are.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to miss this point, because in seeing this point, in understanding how important this is, you recognize that you are the temple of the Most High, that you are a sacred space in which all of this stuff is unfolding, in which God is working through you. And so we get caught up in chicken head shit, right? We get caught up in chicken head mess. And it's not worthy of you. It's not worthy of your ancestors. It's not worthy of that struggle. And so when we read stuff about and work through this stuff, this is not accidental. This is not accidental. And so here we are. You arrive here. And as we are dealing with this, please, please, please take this into your spirit, because even with me and reading this stuff about the dysfunctions that I've had that I didn't know were dysfunctions right at the time. So even in reading this, now I know that there is some work that I must do, right? And that becomes for each of us work. That's why I say all the time, don't look away. Don't look away, because that in looking away, what we do is we continue to let that, what happens to a raisin in the sun, right? Is that what it does it, you know?
Yeah.
So does it fester over? I mean, does it cover over like a spirit? What happens to it? So if we look away, that breakdown is what we will continue to see. And so Yeah, I don't even know if he was thinking about that when he wrote that, what happens to a raisin in the sun. But whew, we are here. Fear of loss of control, of being controlled by another through dominating power of events or conditions such as addiction, right? We make choices about what we put in our bodies, right? And the initial choice is so significant, because sometimes what I used to tell people ask me, have I ever tried something? Because I don't want to then have to deal with the consequences. Yes. Yeah, because I can sit up there and say, "Ooh, I'm so strong. I can, yeah, I don't have to know. I don't have to, go and try everything so I can prove how strong I am. It's like I can say, oh yeah, that's not for me. I don't have to try it. I don't have to try it. You don't have to try it. Rape is something that happens to us, right? It's a fear that so many have, but it happened to me. I know it happens to plenty of people, right? And that becomes an opportunity for us to learn and to grow and to discover something else. But we are that and we were raped on a regular basis. All of these things, these second chakra issues, are things that have happened to us. When they talk about betrayal, well,
fear, all of it, fear of loss control,
financial loss. We were the commodity up on a block being sold like
cattle.
Impotence. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that, because I think that is important. And a lot of times we have, we want to whisper and hush and talk about stuff behind the scenes, but sometimes
that's shame.
Yes, sometimes we just powerless. Need to bring that out and talk about it so that we can get a better understanding of what we're dealing with. And if we can shine a light on it, if I say it, or if I can own it, then it no longer has power. To be my in my closet, trying to like a boogeyman, right? Oh, please don't let nobody find out. Abandonment by our primary partner or professional colleagues. Yes. And then fear of loss of power of the physical body. Okay, so let me I need to, because that right there is a doozy. Okay, so let me see if I know I just saw you look at the clock, so let me see if we can
you can see me doing that.
Other couple of things out of the way, so we can wrap it up.
This is so good.
Yes.
I want to write a paper on this. I got a new idea.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Primary strengths: the ability and stamina to survive financially and physically on one's own, and to defend and protect oneself. The fight or flight instinct, the ability to take risk, the resilience to recover from loss, whether of family members, partners, or property, occupation or finances, the power to rebel and reestablish a life. Right? You tear this down, I can build it back up in 3 days. Right. You got that power.
Yes.
And personal and professional decision-making abilities
and
talent.
That's the primary strength of that chakra.
Yeah.
So if you get violated sexually, and that light now is been shut down, energy stripped away. So you imagine, who wouldn't? Then all of these things, our world or this planet goes without it goes without your talents, goes without all of the things that build this planet. Now is being like the process is now slowed up because there's a violation, or there's an unawareness, and or we have shamed it or put it away or hid the light under the bush.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. All of
Then
that.
the world misses out on all our yummy goodness.
Right. And has for a long time, because of those violations. And so now it's like we make it seem like the Beyoncés or the Jordans or
Yeah.
are exceptional.
Or
But
some anomalies.
Wonder if all
It's
of
not
us.
true. It's so not true that I don't want to be political, but they put their drugs that are infiltrated in our communities.
Right.
Because it's so not true.
Right. They fear of a
fear of waking up.
Yes. Right.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes, they fear your light. They fear your brightness. And so what we have to do is stop dulling it ourselves.
Yes.
Marianne Williamson says, nobody has to take your candy from you. Once they got your mind, you throw your candy away. You throw it away, even before the bully gets there. Here, take it. We throw it away. Oh, don't come close. Don't come close. I'm not going to try anything. You said stay in the back box. Yes, sir. I'm going to stay in the box. You say step off of the sidewalk when you walking. Yes, sir. I'm going to step off of the sidewalk because I want to get home. That's what we talk about all the time about a police officer just wants to go home. We all want to go home.
Right.
We all want that. Shit. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
No, do not apologize. And don't move forward. Like, I think we should just, like, in the book of Psalms says, Selah. I think we need to rest right here. Because this is enough to chew on for 24 hours. Just being provoked, I pray, to consider where we have abandoned ourselves in this area of our journey. Like, yeah, we're going up the elevator. We can't get to that second floor, or if we're on the second floor, go gather your pieces. Yeah. Remember yourself.
Yeah, I hope and pray that you are getting how profound this work that this woman put out is. And I hope that for you, we are shining the light and bringing light to this, because I know we are bringing light to it for ourselves once again. I am so grateful, so grateful, so grateful to you guys. I'm so grateful to Stephanie for being here. I'm grateful. I stand in this place of just thank you, God, for all these blessings that are
huge appreciation.
Our life right here and right now.
Yeah.
So, I pray that I'm saying the sacred yes.
Yes.
Yeah, to all my ancestors and everybody else, continue to use me so that we can do this work together. This has been us. We thank you for being here.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday. Oh
yes, Tuesday. Rhonda's birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
Birthday again.
Yes, that's sacred. Yes, that's sacred. Yes. So we're blessing each one of you, blessing her, blessing the path that we are on. We will be here tomorrow, and just grateful. Yeah, so thank you. We bow deep.
Deep bow. Yes.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All
All
right.
right,
Have a
Miss
great
Stephanie.
rest of the day.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to I need to make contact with you. I know you're gonna get that info, but I gotta just a quick conversation.
Okay.
So whenever you get a moment.
This will be the moment because I start my marathon at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then I will call you right back.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Bye.